the jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation. That means what you do will affect your heritage for the third and fourth generation. A generation is 50 years. What you do, Dad, affects your children and grandchildren for 120 to 160 years with God, for good or evil. Think about it. Your conduct will bear fruit into the middle of the 26th century. Likewise, God's grace is extended to the children because of the fathers. I know God's grace has been extended to me because of my father and my grandfather and my great-grandfathers that date back to their arrival in America to 1743 on the ship called Spirit. Has your life given God reason to pour out grace upon your children? The Bible proof of the fathers affecting lives of the children, God told Solomon, who slipped into idolatry, to please his wives. I want you to hear that. They called Solomon the wisest man in the world. I doubt it. He had 1,000 wives. He slipped into idolatry because of his wives. He did it to please them. So God said in 1 Kings 11:12, I will not take the throne from you, Solomon, in your lifetime, for David your father's sake. I'm going to spare you because of your father's service to the kingdom of God. God gave Solomon grace because of King David. Now let's take a look at the life of King David. The story of his life is thrilling. It reads like a romance novel. He came through the ranks. Once he was a shepherd boy, but God anointed him and he became a giant killer. The songs about David were number one on the hit parade in Israel. His mind was as brilliant as the kiss of sunshine upon clear water. He possessed unlimited courage. He killed a lion and a bear with his bare hands. He was the Rambo of Bethlehem. He was a poet. He was the master musician and a songwriter. He was a prophet. He was a warrior. He climbed from one staggering victory to another until he became king. Not by right of birth, but by right of ability. He was Mr. Success in Israel. He was a genius combat general. He fought 18 wars defending Israel, and he won them all. He was a statesman who molded a few scattered tribes into a thriving nation, so financially successful that his era is called to this day the golden age of Israel. Had David lived in our day, he would doubtless have written a book, From the Pit to the Palace. Now this is satire, by the way. He would doubtless have been selling 5 smooth stones on his national television show, or miniature slingshots, or miniature swords like the one he used to cut off Goliath's head. You hear the satire of that? From the glitz and the glitter of this sensational life, we hear his sobs that shake the walls of the chambers over the gates of Jerusalem. My son Absalom, Absalom, my son, would to God I had died in your place. Oh, Absalom, my son. All the moral fracture of his own life stared him in the face as he looked at the wreckage of his boy. For all of his success, David was a miserable failure as a father. Why did he fail? How did he fail? Absalom was David's favorite son. Absalom was not born a vicious rebel. When he sucked at his mother's breast, he was not a killer. But after he watched his father plot the death of Uriah and cover it up, then he became a killer. Then he was a trained killer. Daddy showed him how to betray, how to deceive, and how to kill. Absalom learned quickly, and he learned well. Absalom gathered his rebellious army in the forest of Ephraim. He decided that he wanted to be king. He had always been given everything he wanted. Why not have his father's kingdom? King David sent Joab, his general, and the armies of Israel out to fight with the rebels, following this brat he had raised. King David said to the generals, Joab, deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom. David loved this thankless brat. He loved him. See the armies of David and Absalom clash in the woods of Ephraim. Listen to the clatter of the swords. Listen to the sounds of men dying and suffering. 20,000 men died within a few hours in a bloody hand-to-hand combat. 20,000 men died because a brat was trying to get his way. Absalom fled for his life on the back of a mule. The mule ran under a tabernacle tree. And Absalom's long wavy hair is caught in the branches of a tree. And he dangles there in the air. Joab, the 5-star general of David's army, is in hot pursuit. And he comes upon beautiful Absalom. Joab throws 3 spears through the chest of Absalom and kills him. David's army took Absalom's bloody body down and threw it in a deep pit and covered it with rocks, because that's the way you buried an animal. They did not give him any respect, any show of decency, any kind of courtesy, because he was not deserving of it. King David is sitting beneath the gates of the city of Jerusalem. The watchman on top of the wall sees a runner coming. He's a messenger to give the message of how the warfare is going. The first runner approached him, said, "The victory is ours." David said, "How is Absalom my son?" There was no answer, because the messenger didn't know. He ran swiftly with enthusiasm, with sincerity, but he did not have a message. That reminds me of some of the preachers on television today. They have lots of enthusiasm, but they have no message. They're presenting hot tub Christianity, which is teaching you how to adjust to your sin without confessing your sin. I want to assure you that the message America needs to hear is Jesus Christ and his cross, and to receive Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But here